Nico Hulkenberg is getting lots of attention in the Formula One racing world after he did really well at Silverstone. But something very interesting has come up from Great Britain. Should he be paired up with Max Verstappen? They missed this chance. Once in 2020 when Marco talked about it not too long ago. But is there any way the Austrian team could offer a new and better job for Hulk before 2026? Things are looking pretty good at Sauber after their last few races, getting points twice in Austria. And getting third place in Silverstone means something really unusual happened. The Swiss team scored more points than Red Bull in the last 5 races starting from Spain. Hulkenberg got more points than Verstappen minus 31 to 29, and this makes Helmut Marko think hard. Should the Austrian team have picked Hulk when they had the chance? Remember, Nico stopped racing in 2019 and came back in 2022. He worked as a backup driver many times for Aston Martin, even taking Vettel's place when his teammate couldn't race because he got COVID-19. But ever since he came back to racing, Hulkenberg has been nothing but awesome. He helped Haas get back to being a middle-level team and is now doing the same thing for Sauber in just a few races with Jonathan Wheatley as the leader. The team might be able to fight Williams for 5th place in the team championship. This is great news for a team that's going to become Audi, starting in 2026 with the new rules, but a big question has come up that makes everyone curious. Should Hulkenberg join Red Bull soon? I think that chance might be gone, but you never know when it comes to the Austrian team. Helmut Marko said lots of nice things about the German driver's career so far and talked about the chance they had to sign him not long ago, back in 2020. Nico was someone Red Bull was thinking about when they let Albon go. But when Perez won in Bahrain, that really helped the Mexican driver. Talking more about this missed chance and any possible future working together, Marko said, "I have to say that Hulkenberg has done really well since his surprising return to Formula One. Maybe it's good that he didn't get that seat next to Max. We were talking about it, and then Perez won the race in Bahrain, and that happened right when we wanted to make a decision. That made us choose him. Nico has a long contract with Audi right now, and I wouldn't give that up. So was choosing Perez the right decision from this point of view? Looking back, probably not, but we need to think about the success that Sergio did have with Red Bull. He won 5 races with Red Bull and had some amazing drives in 2021 when Verstappen won his first championship. Let's not forget Turkey and Abu Dhabi, where he got his nickname as the Minister of Defense, but after that, things went downhill fast for Perez. It might have been more the team's fault than Sergio's. Looking at how Lawson and Tsunoda did and are doing now in the RB21 car, but that's really something people can argue about. Red Bull hasn't given a real chance to any outsider to see if they would do a better job as a driver next to Verstappen. And this might be something that will bother them later because of how bad that second seat looks right now, when Max was winning race after race with his car being way better than his rivals. Nobody really worried about that second seat. Max was able to win the team championship pretty much by himself. But now that Red Bull is definitely stuck at 4th place with their current drivers, having a great second driver would have been super helpful, and people are questioning his leadership. Again, after Max Verstappen's latest comments about how the RB21 car is performing, with Hulkenberg, Red Bull might have missed the perfect chance to have a German version of Bottas on their team. Hamilton could count on his Finnish teammate a lot because Bottas never missed making it to the final part of qualifying in his 5 years with Mercedes, knew his job perfectly, and won 10 races as a reward for being the driver who was at the right place at the right time. Plus, I don't think you need to look very far to see why Red Bull really needs a good second driver. Yuki Tsunoda finished last place in Silverstone and got another 10-second penalty for crashing into Bearman. Right now, only 8 points have been scored by drivers who aren't Verstappen for the Austrian team. And when he's not winning easily up front, this is a big problem for the team championship. Plus, let's not forget that rumors about Max leaving Red Bull for Mercedes are getting stronger every day. What this means is the Dutch driver could put the team in a really bad position to compete starting in 2026. Another great reason why they would need an experienced driver like Hulkenberg, but like Marko said, the German driver is now focused on the Audi project, since the main goal of the German company was to have an older, experienced driver, preferably someone who is German. That's why they picked Hulkenberg, and that's why they talked with Vettel about maybe coming back to racing. But from this point of view, the problem is much bigger for Red Bull if they wanted to get Hulkenberg's signature back in 2020 there. Wasn't a team like Cadillac or Audi who wanted to sign an experienced driver as the leader of their team. And it changed things a lot because Nico would much rather be the first choice on a project team than know he'd be the second choice at Red Bull. Yes, if you ask this question back in 2020, the answer would be different. But with the Austrian team not doing as well lately, I don't think Nico is dreaming about becoming a driver next to Max. The car's performance has dropped way down, and Verstappen sent a strong warning about how the RB21 car feels to Horner, and the engineers back in Milton Keynes. So, is this really a place that Hulkenberg would want to make his next home? Talking more about what needs to be fixed on that car for it to be good enough to win races, Verstappen went on to say, "To be honest, I didn't know what to expect from the race, but it was just really difficult from lap 1 onwards. There was a really difficult balance in the car between fast and slow corners. I couldn't really find a good balance. Also, on the rain tires, I think we're wearing out too much. Especially compared to McLaren, they were again on a completely different level." This is a good reason why Red Bull might be looking for an experienced driver to sign next to Max for the time coming up, especially knowing that the new rules are going to be a big question mark for everyone. The Austrian team is sure that the car can only be handled by Verstappen and only Verstappen right now. So there's no need to ruin another young driver's career like Isaac Hadjar. That's also why Peter Bayer, the boss of Racing Bulls, said that he'll handcuff his driver until the end of 2026. If that's what it takes to keep him away from Red Bull, we know that the main goal of every driver in Racing Bulls is to move up to the main team and prove that you have what it takes to be the next champion. But on the other hand, I don't think it's that easy, especially not with a car that's struggling. Really hard to be at the front. As for Hulkenberg, he got lots of praise from his former teammate Carlos Sainz, who might have thrown a little dig at Red Bull about Hulkenberg proving his doubters wrong. Sainz was also a good candidate to replace Perez. But the reason was pretty clear. He's competitive and he wouldn't have been happy with anything less than being the number 1 driver on the team. But for Hulkenberg, things might have worked out differently. And when praising how he did in Silverstone, Sainz said, "Honestly, for me, the most impressive thing is that people kept saying bad things about him. The fact that he didn't have any third-place finishes was completely unimportant to me. I was his teammate back then, and the fact that he didn't have a podium was just bad luck. So I'm happy he's got his podium now to prove wrong everybody who doubted him. For me, I never doubted him, and I knew he was going to be on the podium one day." And now we're left wondering, would Nico be the perfect teammate for Max? And if so, will this be a move that the Austrian team will want to make? The chances are low, especially after Jonathan Wheatley, the former sports director of Red Bull, has been made the team boss of Sauber, but you can never say never when Horner comes knocking on your door. The biggest thing would be the role, because Nico knows he'd be the second driver right from the start. However, with his age and the project that he's taken with Audi, it might be better to be the main driver for 2 or 3 more years before retiring rather than being in the background, fighting with slower cars only to retire when the team finally figures things out. With all of this in mind, what do you think about Red Bull's chances of signing Hulkenberg starting in 2026? And more importantly, do you think that they're sorry about not signing him back when they had the chance in 2020? Let us know in the comments below. And once you do that, make sure to click on the video that's appearing on your screen right now.